Thank you for staying with us on The World Now. Let's get you into a topic with decades of interest in it. It is the tracking of the African descent by foreign nationals for reconnection with their roots. A Nigerian who found his root has set up an organization focused on doing the same for African Americans. The CEO of Tribal Tapestry, Prince John James Olomo, who is fired up with the zeal for this reconnection effort, has chosen Nigeria as the launch point. He's joining us now for a wider look into this DNA investigative solution he says he has worked out. It's good to have you join us on The World Now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So talk to us about why this moment is so important for the African diaspora and what does this process really entail?
Yes, so this is a good turning point for the diaspora. Right now, we have a situation where, as you know, 23andMe has filed for bankruptcy, another DNA company, a very large one in Silicon Valley in California. And we are bidding for 23andMe as a company because of the technology that they have. It took me 7 years, as you know, to trace my roots, to find my roots in Nigeria as a Yoruba man. And I also happen to know who my African family is. And so by acquiring 23andMe, we get to leverage that technology and bring more African Americans home to Nigeria, home to the continent, in a matter of months instead of years.
And you said that this is not about the percentage, but about the people involved. But talk to us about the potential in, reuniting some of these families that have been separated due to, slave trade and other historical events.
Right. Most DNA companies are going to give you a result, and it's going to be a region, right? So it's going to say, oh, you're from Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, etc., and it gives you percentages, as you say. The difference between our company, Tribal Tapestry, is we actually tell people which tribes they are from. And then we seek to go further and actually tell people, look, this is your town. This is your local government area. And so that's what we're aiming to do. And that's why we are acquiring 23andMe's technology.
Why is Nigeria the launch point of this? And how do you intend to leverage on the country's significant, history as a part of the Nigerian diaspora system, the African diaspora system itself?
Nigeria is of critical importance. I mean, it's one of the biggest economies in Africa, but the African Americans, 50% of African Americans actually have Nigerian DNA. You see, so by connecting African Americans specifically to Nigeria as a launch point, that is going to have the maximum healing effect amongst the African American community and Nigeria as well, because we are actually connecting families. I mean, I happen to know my African family. Not too many African American born people can say such a thing. And so Nigeria is of critical importance.
And due to the peculiarity of Nigeria itself, I want to ask if this form of tracking, is it only through the scientific method, or you're looking to use the oral and documentary evidence in tracking the descent?
I'm glad you asked the question. What we're looking to do is to get with the Nigerian Population Commission and begin digitizing more of their records. In fact, all of them. It is through the digitization of those records and the DNA testing that we are actually able to tell someone in the States, okay, this is not only the tribe that you come from in Nigeria or Africa, but this is actually your family that you connect to. And once we establish that emotional connection, then we can start to bring foreign direct investment into the country.
And talk to us about if, this form of DNA testing is open to just African Americans. Is it open to Africans themselves to also test whether they also have ties outside the continent?
That's a great question. Yes, this is open to all African diaspora. So we have Afro-British who are taking our test and finding their way home. We have Afro-Canadians who are taking our test and finding their way home. And so we're not just bringing home test takers, we're bringing home your cousins and your family. This is why we are building what we call the $1 trillion tree. African Americans alone spend $2.1 trillion a year annually. And we want to bring that investment onto the continent. And that way Africans can stand in a global economic solidarity.
I'm very interested in your proposal, which includes an Ancestry upgrade campaign for 23andMe users. How is this likely to benefit both the estate and the global African community?
Right. So what's interesting about our proposal, our bid for 23andMe, is we are different from the other companies that are bidding. Our bid brings short-term immediate revenue to the 23andMe estate, and it also brings long-term revenue. In terms of the African economy, we're connecting African Americans, Afro-British, etc., to their family because we can leverage the technology to connect what we call DNA relatives. So you might find someone in the tribal Tapestry ecosystem who is your fourth cousin or your fifth cousin. For example, over years, I was able to find my common ancestor, my cousin who is in Olomo in Houston, Texas, but we have the same fourth great grandfather paternally. And those are the types of connections we're looking to bring to the continent. Once you establish a familial type of connection, dollars flow, cultural pride increases, and that's good for all of us Africans. It doesn't matter where we're born.
So to a more personal question, how did it feel, reuniting with your family? And what message do you have for Africans on the continent who may also discover they have relatives in the United States or the Caribbean?
It was the best feeling in the world. It really was. To course correct 400 years of separation is a very powerful thing. And Tribal Tapestry is doing that, and we're able to do it at scale, right? We are able to bring home literally millions and millions of African diaspora back to the continent. To be frank with you, Africa, and West Africa particularly, was its strongest before the transatlantic slave trade. And we believe that it's going to be its strongest when we begin to bring the diaspora home, not by 10 or 20 at a time, but we need to bring them home by thousands, and we need to do it at scale. Tribal Tapestry has that technology to do it, and by acquiring 23andMe, we're going to do it much, much faster.
Well, this is a great initiative, but how optimistic are you that Africans and African Americans will take advantage of this opportunity in the next 5 or 10 years?
Yes, I'm Nigerian, so I'm audacious. You see, I believe that in the next 8 years, I firmly believe that once we make these acquisitions, we will be able to connect every African American to the family that they come from in Africa. And this is what we call the $1 trillion tree.
Prince John James Olomo, CEO Tribal Tapestry and a DNA expert, thank you for talking to us at this time. And is it safe to say welcome home?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. That's it on The World Now. For more updates on the stories of monitoring, you can visit our website on www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and on X at TVC News NG. And YouTube, we are live at TVC News Nigeria.